Ready to go? I was waiting to see everybody else's faces. Hi, I'm Jodi Livon. I'm the happy medium, and I'm very happy to be in front of you today. Despite the fact that my email locked me out, so I couldn't log in as fast as I wanted to, I'm still happy to be here. I love electronics and spirits. It's really fun. Anytime I do one of these events, I think I've told you this before, all the spirits that love you so much know you're going to be in front of a medium, so they get in front of me. So I may have an empty house, but it's not really empty. So if you see me looking around, that's what I'm looking at. So again, I'm Jodi Livon. I'm the happy medium. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Lake Harriet Spiritual Community. I just love this. The energy of doing one of these events with you is unique to you. Always leaves me feeling high, naturally. And I just love everybody's combined energy, individually and combined. So truly mean that. It's just wonderful. It's so much fun. You guys are in this for the spiritual high, and I'm in it for the spiritual high. And when I do my work, especially as a corporate psychic, I can't say, hey, I'm in this for the spiritual high, because it just isn't very corporate-y, but that is the truth. And then eventually people start to really know that about me, and it all works out perfectly. So we're here to talk about balancing the masculine and feminine energy, divine. And I had a lot of fun with this. I had a lot of fun reading about it. I had a fun digging through the stuff I've talked about before. And I really enjoyed, I did more research than I sometimes do, because it was even more interesting to me than some other things. So as always, we are going to do a lovely grounding exercise, but not the kind of exercise that you dread, the kind that you love. So know that within each of us is the divine masculine and feminine. So as we do this, which I think you probably already know this, let that kind of sink in. So if you could take a deep breath, close your eyes, gently close your eyes as I've written. Rotate your head in small circles one direction, to the right, and then to the left. Draw little circles. And then take a deep breath in and out through your nose, and uncross your arms and uncross your legs and sit with your spine straight. Raise your hands up in the air. Move your wrists around a little bit, right and then left, all the while breathing. And then bring your arms right back down and put your palms together and rub them together until you can feel some warmth. And then just gently lay them on your thighs, palms up or palms down. Again, if your palms up, you're receiving energy, and if palms down, you're keeping your energy within yourself. Again, gently close your eyes and rotate your head again to the right in one small circle, to the left in one small circle, then center. Take a deep breath in through your nose and then out. And then look all the way to the right comfortably, and then a little bit more to the right, and then all the way to the left, again, comfortably, and then a little bit more. And do that a couple of times. Now lift your shoulders gently up and release them down. And if your eyes aren't already closed, close your eyes and listen to the sound of your breath as you slowly inhale and exhale. So as on your next inhale, inhale as deeply as you can for the count of 10. And then exhale, if you can, for the count of 16. Do that 2 more times, just gently. Feel the rise and fall of your belly as you breathe and relax into the flow of air as it moves through you. Bring your breath back to just your regular breath and just inhale and exhale. It really helps if you, the reason I suggest keeping your eyes closed is because then you can really feel the breath in a more full way. But if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you certainly don't need to. Now say your full name to yourself and wiggle your toes. Now take a deep inhale and exhale again through your nose. And imagine a sparkling white light moving simultaneously up from the core of the earth and down from the heavens. And they kiss in your belly. The light, this beautiful divine light, is restorative, and it fills every cell in your body with light, divine healing. And every time you inhale, this beautiful divine light comes up through you from the core of the earth. And every time you exhale, divine light comes from the heavens and comes down through you. And they meet and cross each other in your belly, again, filling you with light. And every inhale fills you with the healing, as I said, and every exhale also gives you an opportunity to exhale any tightness from your body, any thoughts that no longer serve you, anything that doesn't feel good. So just take a couple of deep breaths and imagine that beautiful white light coming into you. And as you exhale, there's white light coming into you, and you can exhale anything that's been bothering you. Old, worn out thoughts. That's what I call them. Your body is alive with light. Your mind is peaceful and open. Inhale and exhale one more time. And you can open your eyes. So when we do this kind of a thing, we raise our vibe. And of course, our vibe is not who we are, it's how we are in that moment. And when your vibration is raised, everything seems brighter and you're more open and you're more in touch with how much you love. And if you don't feel that way, no worries. Just keep breathing, because it really is it's a vibe lifter. People respond to your vibration more than they do the clothes that you wear, more than they do the car you drive, or anything you even say. It's not the way you look. It's the way you feel to them. They're feeling your vibration. And you can change it with a single thought. And as I always say, if you choose happiness, your vibration's raised. So if you wouldn't mind closing your eyes for one more minute. And when you open your eyes, whatever you focus on, find something immediately to focus on and appreciate it. So close your eyes, in and out with your breath. Then open your eyes and find something in the room you're in to appreciate. You don't even have to tell anybody what it is. Just let yourself feel the appreciation for whatever that is. And feel it fill your body. All right. So when you are aware that within you is divine feminine and positive energy, then you also become aware that one can override the other. And when that happens, you might feel burnout, spiciness and not in a good way, rage, loneliness. You might feel sort of dumped on, and you might feel fearful. It just means you're out of balance. So balance is a moving target, and there's lots of ways to find balance. Do those feelings sound familiar to any of you? So of course, these can be attributed to grief. There's lots of things that we can attribute feeling off balance to. I'm concentrating right now on the feminine and masculine sides inside of you and without, but either way, it can help you find some balance. So however you're sitting right now, make sure that your body feels comfortable. So I love Jerry and Esther Hicks, the work of Jerry and Esther Hicks. It's called The Work of Abraham, I believe they call it. And Esther says of Abraham Hicks says, lead by vibration. Does that make sense? You lead by your vibration. You lead by what you're radiating. So this isn't a way for you to criticize what you're radiating. You just bring yourself back to appreciating things and you radiate at a higher level, which helps you also find balance. So these are the fun things that I have found about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, or this is my version of what this is. And of course, I didn't memorize it all. And you wouldn't want me to, because then I'd look like this. And it would be boring. So pardon me while I look and I read some of this. Okay. The divine feminine is what allows us to just be. Just be. And again, we all have the divine feminine and masculine in us. It's to be receptive. And it is to be intuitive and to direct our energy inward. And it's a nurturing energy and an assuring energy, and it has a receiving nature. So it's about being and receiving. Think creation and birth, right? She can be felt, the divine feminine can be felt, but not seen or heard. This is a feeling, this being receptive, this being open, this being intuitive, this giving birth. She's also sometimes known as yin. I think that's how it's pronounced, sort of the passive energy, but passive isn't a negative. When the divine feminine is off balance and too dominant, we may feel ungrounded, aimless, unsupported, muddled, and unstable. Can anybody relate to that? The divine masculine is what allows us to do. So the divine masculine is a doer, an action taker, projects outward, the energy outward, makes things happen on an outward level, very giving in nature also. The divine masculine is associated with exterior courage, action, loyalty, logic, leadership, and truth. So think like risks and voyages and adventures and making things happen externally, as I said. When off balance, the divine masculine holds no space for themselves. They abuse power and disrespect harmony and personal space of others. So they don't respect their own space. When you're in that space, you don't respect your own space, and you're not respecting others if the divine masculine is overpowering the rest of you. So if we look at recent history on our planet, we can tell that there's some abuse of power going on. And I am not talking specifically the United States. I mean planetary, if you look at the different countries, because there's an imbalance of divine masculine energy, and it's not being very divine. So there's a sense of being off balance. So to bring it in balance globally, bring it in balance in yourself. Concentrate on yourself. I remember when my kids were really little and we would take pictures. Perhaps I've told the story to this group before. And everybody, all the cousins were there, all my sisters and my brother's kids, and it was awesome. Lots of kids. But we were trying to take a picture on the stairs. That's what we always did. And nobody was really looking at the camera. They were all talking to each other and telling each other that they needed to look at the camera. So we used to say, just think about yourself, how you feel, and look at the camera and smile. Don't worry about who's next to you. So it's the same thing. Think about how you feel and how you can bring yourself in balance and stay in balance. And that will actually help the world, because that's the way it works. The positive, loving energy absolutely positively has more power than anything else. So things are changing. Here's a little more about how imbalance might show up. You might feel this way. I was talking to my husband about this last night. We were going back and forth about how, when we're imbalanced, it might feel. Frustration, rage, road rage, quick-tempered, hair trigger reactions, sleep issues, crying a lot, hysteria, being too passive, getting walked on, taking responsibility for stuff that's not ours. Again, there are various reasons for these imbalances. And at this moment, we're talking about the male and the female, the divine male and female positive energies in us that become imbalanced. So in general, it seems like we honor the divine masculine, like action and strength and reasoning. And while we undervalue the divine feminine energies of nurturing and receptivity and intuition. When I say we, I mean the general public. I don't mean you. Here are a few tips to help get us balanced within. Become more aware of yourself. Self-awareness is not selfish. Self-awareness is beautiful. So become more aware of yourself. Take responsibility for what's yours. Not what's not yours, but what's yours. Clear out your stuffed emotions. So get rid of your stuffed stuff. Things that have been bothering you. It's kind of like spring cleaning. When you ditch the stuff that you don't need, it's more of a spring cleaning for the soul, which I talk a lot about on television. And I just did something, I think, last month on that. And even on Twin Cities Live, I'm the resident psychic on Twin Cities Live. We talked about beautiful ways to get in touch with Mother Earth to nurture ourselves. So there's going to be more about that in this as well. And when you get rid of your stuffed stuff, you start to nurture yourself more. Be willing to see the big picture. That's a huge one. Honor the warrior within you. If you get angry about something, anger is not negative. It's what you do with it that can be negative, but anger can be very powerful. It can push you forward. Love up your words that you speak to yourself and make them kind, and love up your wounds. So you've got old stuff from childhood that may be still bothering you. That's all right. Love it up. You don't have to love what happened, but you can love that you're working on it. And you don't have to think about it with disdain because it happened. It's done. Now you're dealing with the residuals, and that's all right. That's part of why you're here. Amplify laughter in your life. Be silly. I just added that right now because it's really true. Be silly. That's great to raise your vibe and help you even yourself out. And honor laughter. Laughter is amazing. Laughter is a healing source. Laughter naturally heals. And that doesn't mean you make fun of yourself in any way. Laughter means you find the humor in things and you see the irony in things. Take your intuition to heart. Tune further into it. If you get a funny feeling about something, check it out. Why are you getting a funny feeling? There's a reason for it. Don't worry about it. Just check it out. And you don't even have to do that out loud. You can do it peacefully to yourself. So then if you follow it and it doesn't work out for you the way you wanted it to, you don't have to deal with what you might feel as embarrassment. And then as you practice being in tune with yourself like that, you won't mind doing it out loud. Meditate on a regular basis. Okay, meditation, doesn't always mean sitting in a dark room with music playing, using your fingers like this and listening to yourself breathe. Although I love that. Meditation can be what we just did at the beginning of this, closing your eyes and listening to yourself breathe for a couple of minutes. It's that stopping that thought process that continually goes on, that negative narrator that's kind of always telling you things in the back of your mind that isn't very nice. When you meditate, you stop that. You neutralize that. You don't really hear it. So even if it's just for a few minutes, a couple times a day, agree to do that. Practice standing on one foot. Hold on to something so don't fall. But practice grounding your feet into the earth. So even right now, press your feet into the ground. When you practice standing on one foot at a time, there's so many things that it does for you. Look it up on the internet. It does a ton of things for you, and it does a lot of things actually to strengthen your body, but it does a lot for your spirit as well, and it balances you out. It's a great thing to do. Not in front of your children, because when you start to wobble, they might laugh, but then that's all right too. Practice doing that at least once a day. Sometimes 3 is the best. Start with once. Do yoga. Yoga is amazing. Do you do Tai Chi? Try that. Practice forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Forgive other people. I always say if you are always holding a grudge, that's going to be eventually all you can hold. You want to let go of those grudges and practice forgiveness. And again, start with yourself. That's the biggest, best thing to do. It is so freeing and so amazing to do that. And we all need to be remind ourselves to do it. Practice appreciation. This is huge. Appreciation and love are nearly twins. And love and intuition are of the same source. So you're all good there. So practice that all the time. Practice being fluid in your movements and in your life. Practice being all right with however anything goes. I have some clients that are actors, and one of the things that they teach is when you're acting, and you can do this with your writing and your art as well, whatever happens is meant to happen. So you keep it on the paper, you keep it in the script, you just keep it and see what it looks like afterwards. If somebody coughs, if the doorbell rings, if something like that happens, it's part of it. Know that your life is like that. Whatever's happening is meant to be happening. And you can do different things to tilt it to make it more positive, but you don't have to beat yourself up over the things that are happening. Just go with the flow. That's a huge thing to do. Go with the flow. Practice compassion, acceptance, which is part of going with the flow. And practice standing up for yourself, speaking up for yourself in little and big things. Start with little things. Practice it. Do it. Be aware of planetary changes. So we all know about Mercury Retrograde. We all know the power of Venus and the moon. If you are aware, astrologically aware, just slightly of what's going on, it gives you more of a heads up. I always feel like the Earth has PMS when we're in Mercury Retrograde, pre-Mercury syndrome, pre-Mercury Retrograde syndrome, or post or during. That's what that is. And it's all right. Again, it's for our growth. It's to move us forward. So there's more than that. I mean, there's more of when there's a new moon and how it's a great time to cleanse things and put your stones out so the moon can touch it and they can be cleared, and to start new ideas. And when there's a full moon, that brings us things too. It's just a way to support us and help us. It's a way that the universe supports us and helps us. Just like the universal laws, like the law of attraction is there to help us and support us. Be aware of these things. Okay, so here's one that I kind of giggled, and I saw this on many different websites. Go to bed by 10:30 p.m. Okay, that's like an impossibility for me, but I'm going to try to make that happen, because apparently that gives us some time in our sleep and during the night that revives that yin energy. I hope I'm saying that right. I hear pronounced lots of different ways, in very fancy ways. So the other thing is drink a lot of clear fluids, like clear, clean water, clear soups, herbal teas, things like that help you, and fruits that have a lot of juice, like watermelon. It's an amazing thing. Do things like that to help sort of balance your energy out. Be around moving water. You can watch it on the internet if you don't have access to it. You can get a little fountain, make your own little fountain. You can go take a walk by moving water, meditate by moving water. Be connected to the earth This is a huge healing thing. And if you live, as I do, in the frozen tundra that's not frozen right now, water is, when the snow comes down, it actually makes me feel good, even though I don't like to clear it from my pathway. It's an amazing thing because it is, in some sense, moving water, right? Frozen water. And you can still be near a lake that's frozen because underneath that lake, it's moving water. Looking at pictures of the ocean or listening to sounds of the ocean is a way of doing that as well. Swim in it. Meditate by it, moving water. Get outside every single day, and connect with that beautiful energy of Mother Earth. Just being near it. Dig your feet into the soil or your hands. Literally move your feet in the soil or the sand, but dig your feet into it or your hands and feel the energy of that earth coming up through the earth up into you. It's such a grounding force. Allow the sweetness of the planet, the moon, the sun, the stars, water, to enliven you and feed you, your body, your mind, your spirit. Open up to the beautiful earth energy and the completely unconditional love that it has for you, and let it pour in through your heart. Feel that feeling and then radiate it out into the world every day. Concentrate on that. Remember back to when you were touching the earth. Have something on your phone that gives you an alert that says, time to connect with the earth, even for just a minute. I always feel like when you till the soil, you're preparing for things to bud, for new ideas to bud. So we're looking at more of not where we were, but where we are. And we're looking ahead in that way. And we allow the amazing power of the universe to help our dreams come true. And the earth can help us do that. And balancing your energy is a huge, huge part of it. You know what's funny is such an important part of balancing your energy is noticing when it's imbalanced, and then taking these steps to help balance it out. And particularly if you notice other people not seemingly balanced in your eyes, it's a reflection that maybe you're not feeling balanced. Because if you were, you might not really notice, or wouldn't bother you. You might notice it, but it wouldn't bother you. You know, Byron Katie, one of my favorite quotes, she says, the teacher that you need is the person you're living with. That's roughly her quote. So if you're living with somebody and they bug you, there's something going on about yourself that's bothering you. So if somebody's always late, you're kind of ticked at them for being late. Maybe you're always late. Or if someone's always critical, maybe you're being critical. It's very powerful to do that, to have it reflect back to you, not in a way to beat you up, but to find your balance. There's so many things in the world that can help you find your balance and out of the world. And your intuition is a huge part of it. When you feel balanced, when you make steps, when you take steps to help you feel balanced, and when you listen to yourself breathe, and especially when you dive into appreciation, your vibration starts to raise and you feel happier. And because you feel happier, your intuition lights up even more. So if you think about moments where you've been really sad, but you've had a second of clarity, that brings you joy. Your intuition can come into you even more. And when you are in that peaceful space, those on the other side ride this slide. Picture it as all sparkles and beautiful crystals. They ride that slide down. They lower their level of consciousness. We raise ours and we meet. And they can say hi to us. And they can tell us that they love us. And we can feel their energy. And then they go back up. And hopefully we stay up. And we have more joy in our life. And we have more balance. So there's a lot of good things to balancing your energy. So if you really want to get specific about, putting your hands in the soil, grab a pair of gardening gloves and head to a garden or just a pot, just a big pot of soil. Listen to yourself breathe for a couple of minutes. close your eyes, and then open your eyes and find things to appreciate. And do that for like 3 minutes. Just close your eyes, then open your eyes, and whatever you're looking at, find something to appreciate about it. Then close your eyes and listen to yourself breathe and dig into the soil. Now, a lot of people do wear gloves because they have long nails or for whatever reason. I don't wear gloves, but you certainly can. And know that as you move that earth, again, you're moving something within you to make your dreams come true. And then when you're finished, how you finish things is very important. When you walk away from that beautiful pot or that body of water or that meditation or whatever you have been doing to help you find balance, sit in appreciation of what you just did. As you leave it, put a period at the end of that sentence that says, I did a good job. That was really fun. I love that. And on the off chance that you felt nothing, which you will feel something, but on the off chance that you didn't feel as much as you thought you would, then you giggle and you say, but I gave it a try, I'm going to do it again. And that's really great that I made that effort. That's what's important. And start honoring all those things inside of you that come up and don't get involved in any criticism. Recognize it, turn your mind towards thinking something positive of yourself, and keep moving. So you can also, as I said, to help ground yourself and connect to the earth and balance the positive energies inside of you, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, walk barefoot in the grass. Help your dreams, help fill your dreams little and big by doing those kinds of things. And as you walk in the grass or you touch the soil or you're around water, start thinking about the things that you love that you want to bring to you as well. Fill yourself up with the divine energy of Mother Earth. Be loving towards yourself and others. Keep your thoughts bright and your spirits high. It's really powerful to do that. We want to nurture ourselves, right? We want to nurture ourselves and know how to be, and we want to know how to stand up for ourselves and be a warrior when it's necessary too. There is great strength and wisdom in being conscious of how we feel. So this means that you deliberately make friends with your feelings. So as certain feelings come up, again, you don't fight them, you just honor them. You don't have to be owned by them, you just recognize them. Because that's part of how you tune yourself into your intuition. Because the language of your intuition is the language of how you feel. So if you honor how you feel, then you're honoring your intuition. And if you've got that voice that says you were always a horrible roller skater, then you can giggle and say, it's a good thing I'm not roller skating right now then. And I sure had fun doing it, and leave it. Or better yet, when that voice comes up, just turn your mind to something very positive. Say, I am love and light in action. And I know the universe has my back. So you keep those rolling thoughts positive and your intuition will be louder. You validate yourself. When you validate yourself, you are also finding that balance inside of you. Be patient. Again, make friends with your feelings. And agree to love yourself instead of ignore yourself. This is how we achieve balance. And again, balance is a moving target. So remember to use Mother Earth when balancing yourself out. Go by water, walk barefoot in the sand. If it's winter, then watch the snow, be by a frozen body of water, look at something on a screen, say positive things to yourself, and never ever diminish your feelings. Never say to yourself, my feelings don't matter. Say they do matter. Sometimes they're on a repetitive loop, that voice, and I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to turn it to something else. But always honor yourself, honor other people. When you see someone being rageful, be safe, stay at a safe distance, and then say to yourself, they're off balance, but they have that passion, and that's a really good thing. I don't want my passion to come out like that. So I'm going to work on it, and that's why I'm seeing it. Again, that puts you in balance. The biggest thing to do for the planet, for the universe, and for yourself is to find balance in yourself, is to find your own happiness and your own joy. And your intuition will be so loud. You will have that help. You always know that you're not walking alone. You have your guides, you have angels, you have loved ones in spirit that pop in and out. you have the universe. Most of all, you are never alone. And when you find your balance, you can feel that even more. There's a harmony and you can be more in tune with it. It's an amazing thing to do. You know, the words that you speak and the thoughts that you think and the things that you see and that you say really are like a magnet. And everything that comes to you is steel. So when you think things and say things and feel things, your energy goes out and pulls more of that to you. So clean that up, love it up, and allow everything to bring you more joy. It's a really wonderful way to go through life. And you're not going to feel it every second of every day. I was telling Gary before, as I mentioned, that I couldn't log into my email beforehand. That could have taken me off, but I laughed because that's what spirit energy does. So it's all right. You can always bring yourself back. So no matter how far off balance you feel, you can bring yourself back with your thoughts. You can bring yourself back with your actions, and you can bring yourself back with your breath. So it's like you lull your fear and find your peace when you choose to be proactive instead of reactive. When you just say to yourself, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a minute before I react, then you feel the magnificence of the universe and of knowing that you have that power within yourself and that you can bring yourself back through your breath. It's very powerful. All right. Anybody have any questions about this or anything else intuition related? I'm going to try to zone myself back in and look to see what's going on. So you're going to probably have to unmute yourself if you can, if you have a question, because I can't even find my little box. This has happened before. I'm having a deja vu. So anybody have a question? I'm not seeing any questions.
Jodi, I just want to say that you are just a positive energizer, and I just always feel happy after I listen to you talk, and I want to thank you for that. But I also realize that a lot of what you're saying is what I've kind of been doing lately, and I haven't done before, becoming an explorer. And I've actually looked for different parks in the area that I've never been to before, and even going to small towns that are about an hour away and exploring water, particularly in those areas, like new lakes I've never been to, or even if there's a street that has a lake name, I'll just turn down it and go explore it. And
that's awesome.
I've really connected, as you say, to the universe and to nature more by being an explorer.
Isn't that wonderful? Don't you feel hugged? It makes me feel hugged, which I love being hugged. So it's a wonderful thing. Thank you for sharing that and for your beautiful comments too about my energy. That's lovely. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so because I'm so savvy with this, if you want to ask a question, just raise your hand and unmute. And Gary, if you could help with that.
Everybody's able to unmute themselves now.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's kind of like when my kids decided that they could unmute themselves too, even in the middle of like the synagogue or something else. That was always a lot of fun. But now this is fun. So go ahead. Anybody have a question? I can feel your questions, by the way. Again, it's like this bubble over your head with questions, and it's just an energy thing. I can feel them, but some people are shy, and I love answering questions. So, oh, okay, Renee.
Yeah, I have a question about sleep. I actually wake up, it usually seems to be about 4 or 5 hours into sleep every single night. And sometimes I have trouble falling back to sleep. Do you have any techniques for quieting the mind at night?
Yes, I've had to find these techniques and create these techniques myself. So one of the things that's important is to go to sleep at a certain time every night if you can. So you sort of have a set time that you go to bed, whatever it is, 11 o'clock, whatever it is. For purposes of this, they say 10:30, but that's a challenge. I'm going to try myself. And before you go to sleep, knock off looking at the news. Like, don't look at, and the news is awesome. It's great to check in, but before you go to sleep, don't be looking at that for like an hour before you go to sleep. Make sure that you're not hungry. Make sure that you're not thirsty. Do a couple of mild yoga stretches just so you kind of are comfortable in your body. And then read something that makes you feel peaceful inside. Poetry. If the Bible makes you feel peaceful, then read the Bible. Anything that has positive affirmations, read those before you go to sleep. So make sure that you've had some exercise during the day, do these processes beforehand, and then allow your mind to just be peaceful. And if you can't sleep, tell yourself it's okay. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, then tell yourself it's okay. You can remember back to the things that you read and just tell yourself it's all right. Just lie there peacefully and ask your angels to help you find that sleep. Sometimes what happens is we start to beat ourselves up because we are, am I echoing? Anyone else here? That's weird. I didn't touch anything either. Sometimes what happens is we start to think, oh my goodness, I'm up. Now all these things are going to happen. I'm not going to be good during the day. If you can knock that off, that helps your mind be peaceful. Just be approving of yourself. Those are the best things I can tell you to do. Exercise during the day is a huge piece of it too. And I'm sensing that that would help you in particular, because you keep things in your mind that you aren't able to process immediately, and then you forget to clear them out. You know what I mean? So one other thing that would be awesome for you to do, for everybody to do, is imagine this gorgeous vacuum. I love to vacuum. A vacuum hose floating above your head, and close your eyes and imagine that it inhales all of the stuff that you don't need anymore, all of the worries, all of the static, all of the things that are going on for you that really you don't need anymore. And if you do that before you go to sleep, that will help you. And if you wake up in the night, do that as well. Now, personally, I like my vacuum to have little crystals all over it because I love light. So make your vacuum be whatever it is. Make it an old-fashioned one. Remember the canister ones with the big, they look like a bubble? That's what mine looks like. So however you want yours to look, be elaborate, and then imagine that it does that. It's an amazing exercise to do during the day too if you're stressed out, but at night it really is wonderful too. So thank you for your question. I hope that helped. Okay, Pamela.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
My daughter recently, she lives in Las Vegas and she was rear-ended. And she's had a very bad concussion. She hasn't been able to work. Headaches, the sensitivity to light, as well as whiplash, neck, upper back, and back. And I've just been looking for ways that I can help her. Of course, it's been stressing me out. And I've been trying to pray to her angels and healing. And I'm just thinking if there's any other ideas I could get for her.
So the first thing I want to tell you is you got to untangle from it. It doesn't mean that you're disconnecting from her, but you want to disconnect yourself with any of the cords that really your fearful cords. And so imagine that you are, you have a soul connection to your beautiful daughter. Absolutely. But your energy is going to be better and more helpful if you can keep your positive energy for you at the moment and reduce yourself and not give it to your fears and being connected to her headache in particular. So imagine this giant scissors coming and cutting any of these cords that look like a really gross umbilical cord connected sometimes through, yours is through your solar plexus around there. Some people's is through their back, and you just imagine it opening up and cutting. And you're cutting the cord. You're not cutting your connection. A cord isn't a connection. A cord drains you. So you want to disconnect from your fear is what you want to do, and keep your energy flowing. And the next thing to do is to imagine her in your mind as being healthy, with no headache, with none of those things. Hold a space for her that's the space she's going to come back to. So that doesn't mean if she complains to you that you say, you don't have a headache. I just did cord cutting and I did all these things. No, you say, because you keep that to yourself, you say, I can feel and I can see and I know how painful this is. And I'm really sorry that this happened. And I think looking back, we're going to find some goodies because we always can in things that happen. And I see you as somebody that's healthy. And I know that you're going to get back to it. And I'm here for you in this journey. So it's hers. This is so hard for a parent. It's hers to heal. It's not for you to heal. So when I do readings for people and I can feel, because some of the processes for me is I can see what steps people need to take or could take to find more happiness, more joy, more healing. And when people don't do it or sort of reject it on the rare occasion that they do in a reading, it's really painful because I can see that it's going to help them, but I have to step back and say, this is their journey. All I can do is supply the love and do my work and then step back. So that's what you have to do. And with kids, it's particularly difficult because we're so connected. But I promise you, when you do that, she'll have more energy for herself. It's an odd thing. The other thing is to do things to separate yourself, go have fun and do different things where it's off mind. And that'll help you, which in turn helps her. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I mean, I already did a little bit of that cord cutting with you. So I've got something on, I think it's called Podbean, but if you look up Jodi Livon Podbean, or it's also on Apple, I have a mini podcast of a cord cutting exercise that just takes a couple minutes. It's really good. Look that up. I've got several things on there. I have something about unhook and unstick to get rid of your ick.
Right. I'm just thinking too, maybe that would be great for her. I feel like maybe the accident happened. I don't believe in accidents. Everything happens for a reason. And her boyfriend had just broken up with her.
So she felt like she got hit behind.
Yeah, she was having a really horrible, tough time emotionally because that just happened in March. They were moving together and they completely separated, and been 3 years talking about marriage and kids and the whole thing. So she's been heartbroken. So I think that maybe that was a little bit wanting attention from him, thinking that might pull them back together again.
I have to tell you, I don't think that.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, I don't. And I want to say to you, pull yourself out of that, because even though you're trying to help, there's some judgment in that. And of course, we all do that. It's totally normal. Just say to yourself, she's on this journey. And whatever happened is for her higher good. And because I'm not her and I'm not God, I'm not the universe, I don't know why. So I believe in the law of attraction. My view of it might be tilted a little bit from the norm, because I do believe that there's a lot of things that go on for us that we control. In fact, most of it. There are other things that our higher self set into motion before we came here. So the self that we are here all of the time didn't set that into motion. We should not blame ourselves for it. For whatever happens is for a better reason, but that doesn't mean that we're responsible for getting sick, to beat ourselves up over it. Things happen for a reason, and to separate from beating ourselves up over it is really important. When you have as much knowledge as you do, it can get in your own process, in the way of your process of separating and having good boundaries with your daughter. So that is something that I would suggest that you do, so she can feel her energy of being on her own. The other thing I want to say is she dodged a bullet with this man, because if he was going to do that, he could have done that in a marriage when she had kids with him.
I feel the same way.
So,
Yeah.
excuse me, she dodged a bullet, and how difficult, but she dodged a bullet, and there's somebody more fulfilling for her out there. I can feel the possibility of that. So please share that with her. And I feel like things are going to get much better for her, but you got to do the vacuum and separate.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. That balance is so important, and it's so hard for us to find balance. I think it's hard to find balance, but you have to keep reminding yourself to do it. And that's the thing about any practice, right? You have to remind yourself to do it. Have you ever found yourself thinking about things in a way that you did maybe 20 years ago and thinking, I thought I got that out of myself, and then you realign yourself? That's why balance is a moving target. You have to keep realigning yourself. And it's an awesome thing to do, because then you don't feel like you failed, because it's just the process of bringing yourself back to it, bringing yourself back to it, bringing yourself back to it. Oh, it's 11:23. Oh, okay. Is there one other question?
Hi, Jodi. This is Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Yeah, I've been getting acupuncture treatments for various issues like diabetes and high blood pressure. and they're very expensive, and I stopped going, and I'm wondering if I made the right decision. I mean, would it be best for me to continue with those, or can I heal on my own?
So I did get a yes that you should continue, but you don't have to do it maybe as often as you were. That put a lot into it, put a lot of energy into it before you go. In other words, do a lot of healing on yourself before you go. Feel like if you ever go to a chiropractor, you know, a good chiropractor kind of helps your spine go back into place. It realigns your spine. It helps put you back where your body wants to be. Acupuncture does, for me, so much of the same, and in the acupuncture way more, because it can get to your organs in this way. Do the work before you go, honor it, go, maybe just not as often, because if it was helping you, you want to keep doing that. And it's a way of boosting your own healing process. And I know things like that can be expensive, and see if you can do trade, or you can ask friends if it's your birthday coming up for maybe help with doing that as a gift. I don't feel like quitting at 100% is a good idea. If it's draining your pocketbook, that's not great either. So find that balance. So my answer would be, if something's bringing you balance, don't stop it. If you have to do it less, that's all right. And allow the universe to bring you other modalities of healing as well. Just keep checking, doctoring, I believe in Western medicine too. Doctoring is important. Having a piece of all of it is very important, because that's how you find the balance. The other thing is, when you're not feeling well, sometimes that radiates throughout you so much, it's hard to think about anything else. If you can quiet your mind and bring your thoughts to things that bring you more peace and that bring you joy, it gives your body time to heal. That's really a powerful thing for you to be able to do. It's not always easy, but if you cannot concentrate on what's hurting you, you ignite your own healing properties and the other angelic energy to help you as well. Thank you for asking that question. I can't see you, but I can feel your energy. So I would love to continue answering questions, but I also want to be respectful of people's time. Gary, can we have a couple extra minutes, or do you want me to close up? Okay. Does anybody else have another quick question? You can just ask it if you do. Well, there's my answer. All right. So close your eyes and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and move your feet back and forth. Inhale the feelings of peace. Exhale any process that doesn't work for you. Inhale appreciation. Exhale regret. Inhale love. Exhale fear. Inhale light. Exhale darkness. Inhale, exhale, and release. Today, I turn my eyes to see only that for which I am thankful. Today, I allow myself to absorb the kindness within the universe. Today, I radiate love and extinguish all darkness within. Today, I give birth to the beauty within. I bring forth my song, my art, and my light. I surround myself with the essence of it all and radiate it out into the world. Fall in love with your day, one moment at a time. Smile at your beautiful face in the mirror and hug yourself with your words. This is your moment. Be sure to smile at your face. Thank you very much. You can find me on, I made up a rhyme, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. Please follow me, please like me, please subscribe, because I give away a lot of free goodies and I'd like to share positivity. And I'm the author of the Happy Medium book series. I was just on Twin Cities Live. I have a link to my amazing segment because I was with Twin Cities Live in studio. I was on Twin Cities Live in studio with Elizabeth Reese. It was great. And I'll be on again next month. And I have some events coming up that are in person. So thank you very much. Many blessings to you guys. Have beautiful, amazing energy. And I appreciate you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,